because people will be in the WhatsApp groups, fundraising. I don't know, they made how much money for these people. They feel like they're part of they're part of Kenya. When they're talking to their friends in the club, yelling at each other and talking politics, they feel like they're part of politics.
We have to start mobilizing people to vote for politicians who support our interests. We're talking before this show started about other countries that are very good at mobilizing for their interests here in America, with significant impacts on their countries back home. Kenyans can do the same thing.
The reason why Ruto is president today is because as Kenyans, we are very fixated on promises. The 2026 annual conference of the Kenya Nurses Association of America, KNAA, is happening in Baltimore from September 17th through the 19th at the Sheraton Baltimore North Hotel in Towson, Maryland. Early registration is now open at $250 until July 1st. After that, it goes up to $300. Vendor and sponsorship opportunities are also available, but space is limited. Registration details are on your screen, and the links are pinned in the comments and description below. For inquiries, call 848-224-1201 or email info@kenyannurseusa.org. That's info@kenyannurseusa.org. When we started protesting in the diaspora, because we were all out there in the protests, you know, like organizing and participating, where exactly, just looking at those 2 years and the advantage that you talk about that we have being in the US, and especially us being in DC, in the DMV area, a stone throw away from Congress. Where maybe did we fall short, in as far as we had people's attention, at that particular time, and then now 2 years later, when generally you look at the diaspora, there's kind of, a retreat back to, the tribal cocoons, and there's a general, let me not say disinterest, but people, it's kind of like a lot of people on the ground have just kind of given up. That fire that was there in 2024,
yes,
we do not feel it anymore.
Two quick points. First of all, I wouldn't say again that changing the IMF's approach to Kenya's financial regime in those 2 years made a dramatic difference. Those were hundreds of millions of dollars worth of loans that were not dispersed singularly because of those protests back home. That is dramatically different. The IMF moved because of what those young people on the street did, yes. But number two, in the long term, we don't want to be reliant on spontaneous movements to be able to do that. It is important for the diaspora to organize. Organizing means when 625 is calling on people to write letters to Congress, it's not because we think it's a cute thing to do. It's because we understand that's how issues move here in America. When we're collecting donations to be able to start supporting the interests that are going to move things forward. When we're talking to the Kenyans who are Kenyan-Americans who can vote in the elections here, we have to start mobilizing people to vote for politicians who support our interests. We're talking before this show started about other countries that are very good at mobilizing for their interests here in America, with significant impacts on their countries back home. Kenyans can do the same thing. I'm telling you one quick point here. Because I work for the Democrats, that's my day job. I see other groups who are highly organized. It's not just certain groups. It's also Korean Americans, Chinese Americans. You're starting to see in the state of Maryland, even Nigerian Americans, who constitute almost 50% of the new businesses in counties like Prince George's County. They leverage they leverage the contributions they're making to society here to be able to maneuver the politics here. So Kenyans can do the same
But
thing.
what I'm still not hearing, and maybe we're going to come to you, Joy, is where, as we're talking about us, where did we fall short? Because we were at the forefront, leading those protests, getting people to sign petitions and everything. I'm just saying, and I'm not saying it in any negative way, because I was part and parcel of that. What is it that maybe we could have done different to keep that attention? Because we had a moment when we captured the diaspora's attention. People were calling us from different states, trying to ask us what we need to do from our side. So where exactly did we
I think your point on the fight for attention is a good one, because I was going to say that. I think the first thing we need to analyze is what is is sucking all of our political attention? What are the things that we're doing that are absorbing all of the political juice from within yourself? Because you'll find most of the time it's useless things, right? Are you spending, I don't know how much time arguing with people on Twitter about policies? Are you attending, I attended Gashagwas and all those people, but is that making you feel like you're part of political change?
Right.
Is where are you spreading out your political energy, wasting it on things that absolutely make zero impact? That's the first thing.
Right.
How can you redirect all of that energy into actual work? And that's where 625 comes in. Because people will be in the WhatsApp groups, fundraising. I don't know, they made how much money for these people. They feel like they're part of they're part of Kenya. When they're talking to their friends in the club, yelling at each other and talking politics, they feel like they're part of politics, right? But what you're doing is you're not building the structures that are actually going to make a difference. I think everyone should reanalyze where their political energy is being used. Take that time to redirect it into the actual things, which I mean, join 625, because we are building, actually want to build structure. And also, let's take away any kind of emotion. You don't have to feel, it doesn't have to be reactionary. Right. Let this be practice. The way you commit yourself. Right. You guys do this podcast, right? And you guys have built an incredible audience and you're actually making impact, right? You dedicate that time for creating that impact. Let's think of it as part and parcel of our lives, of our routines, that on this day or this time, I'm going to volunteer my time to the 625 movement. I'm going to help them with their digital education programs. I'm going to help them with their lobbying programs. I'm going to help them with their fundraising strategies. Where can I put in all of my energy into actual work that makes a difference?
If I could build on that point, because I think it's a fantastic point. I know we said we won't say Gen Z or older or this or that, but I will say, when we do talk to Kenyans here, especially in the DMV, who, they have good jobs, they have disposable income, even though they have a lot of commitments back home and everything, their attention is, I'm not saying it should not be on the election because it is very important, but that is their primary occupation. If Matiang'i is coming to visit, that's all they want. That is where their focus is. We're starting to have different conversations with them where we're saying, this is the bail fund, this is the lobbying fund, this is our organizing infrastructure. There's a place for you in that. We want you to participate in that, because you need, to the point you're making, you need a vehicle for long-term change. Okay. And those structures are where those things are going to live. Okay, now I think I want to go to Omosh Fire. Omosh has been silently, paying attention to the show. And Omosh, I want you to give maybe the reality of because we have a very wide touch of the ground out here in the diaspora. We constantly talk to people. People constantly tell us, what's going on across different generations. What are you hearing people say? And maybe would this message that you're hearing in studio resonate with your Ohangla guys when you guys are meeting on the weekend?
Thanks, Ali, for putting me on the spotlight. Unajua, I was just about to use my manyoya blanket. But
ya Raymond.
Yes, hiyo. Unajua hiyo sasa imepita juu ini Gen Z. Oh wait, I can't call them Gen Z. They are leaderless.
They're Kenyans.
They are Kenyans. Hey, okay, this is gonna be tough. Because we are used to segmenting people. Wait, unisectionalism. Why? Jesus. Okay. So I think Kenyans are still grappling with the so-called Gen Z movement, because basically everything past June of 24, right? June 25th of 24 is basically considered a Gen Z movement, whether it's Gen Zs who are moving or not. It's basically our Nima Gen Z moving forward. Like, the protests have actually switched. It's no longer about the regular stuff that people are or regular groups that were protesting. It's all now grouped under the Gen Z. But that adage of they are rudderless, they don't have leadership, and then of all of the other things that you mentioned, not having the IDs, not having the, I guess, having an ability or a party that's a vehicle, a political vehicle that you need to push with, is of concern, especially for folks who know enough about politics, who are looking on from the outside. Because the way they are looking at it is that all elections to date, unless, there's something different in Kenya, have always had a political party pushing the agenda. Whether it's their agenda, whether it's the country agenda, it doesn't matter, but they're the ones who basically go in and put a presidential candidate in. So without having that sort of structure with people who know the way Kenyan politics works to date, and again, you see, this could all be thrown out as of 2027, because it could be that it becomes a matter of what are you, basically people are going to vote based upon what you say you're going to do. Okay, and if we know you're not doing anything, then we're definitely not voting for you if you're on the ballot. So we're going to go with issues. So which leaders are there? What are the issues? And that's we're going on the line of issues. And it seems, understanding that that's the way that this generation of new voters are thinking, versus we'll go with a political party and just jump on a party, and then whichever way we are told in the party, if we're told 6-piece, unaenda 6-piece. If you're told 3-piece, you go 3-piece, which are those are, basically things we've gone through before in other iterations of elections. It becomes, it's gotten to, it's right now, it's kind of like we are in limbo. We're almost like a hyena. You've come, you can smell the food, but you don't know which party you want to go to. And we are at the point where folks need to pick a battle and run with it. But the question then becomes, is it the right direction that you're going to be heading in, or you're going to be getting the road less traveled? So that's where we are at this point. And because we are not necessarily seeing something tangible that can be touched, because with the movement that is being considered the Gen Zs, then we're like, these guys are not working. So for us looking on from the outside, we're like, we can't see anything. There's nothing that we can touch. We're not, like with the other ones, like, the Monday Mandamanos, GT, whatever, you could see that there was something that was coming out, whether it was those irreducible minimums,
Yes.
or whether it was, I don't know, some bill that came out or whatever. Other than the protest for the finance bill, that's the only thing that we are seeing that has come out. And of course, unfortunately, all the lives that have been lost since then. But past that, we don't see there's no meat and potatoes that we can see. And I think that that's the larger problem for those looking on from the outside, who are not inside as part of the movement and don't know the things that, Kinaluka mentioned over here, the things that they are doing, lobbying, pushing over here, that we protested. We went to IMF, remember, we were out there protesting. Those are those soft skills that you may see something, because then guys are forced to change policies. They're like, now we're not sending chaps to Kenya because wale watu wamerefuka. You guys come to us. So things could be changing, but we're not seeing them. And because we're not seeing them, it's not tangible, you can't touch it. Then it's like, this movement is just not working. And the fact that there's no one person who you can come up and say, okay, this is the person who's leading this thing, from what we've been used to, it becomes very hard to tally or rally or tell people, okay, this is what we're gonna go with, or we're gonna do this. Because, like, even if let's say we just throw in Sifuna for a quick second, Mimi ni Sifuna, it's everybody.
Yeah.
Right? But we know who Sifuna is.
Yes.
So it's assumed he's the leader. And he's generally not, but he's the leader. Because he's the face we can see.
Yeah.
And he's the one that we are. But in this case, with the whole movement behind Gen Z, or what we are labeling as Gen Z, we don't see anything. We know they protest, we see flyers, we see things being organized, but we don't have anything to touch. And I think that that's something that the folks, or the kids, or should I say the Gen Zers, need to really consider. And you don't have to take a party or political vehicle that's there now. Have your own. It doesn't matter. But the whole point of it is that in order for us to move forward, or for this movement to move forward, there has to be a political vehicle, because that's the way the country is pangad. Yani, the dispensation is in that political vehicle. So whatever that political vehicle is, whether you use an existing, you form your own, it doesn't matter, but you need to have a political vehicle. Last hivyo, it's just going to be, again, hot air words. We'll come to elections and we'll think, okay, we have numbers, and then tutambiwa, it will be that same thing of numbers, nini, na tumechezwa at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Okay, now to add on to what Omosh is saying, and I think this is very important, like for anyone within that movement who's looking to communicate this to the larger part of the population, because it's all as Kenyans, it's very important to pay attention to what someone like Omosh is saying, because this is now the ground, and perception is everything. Like work could have been done, but as long as people are perceiving that there's nothing that has been done, politically, in political terms, you're in the Democratic Party, that becomes the truth. Like we're eating the dogs, we're eating the cats. Like there are people, we know it's not true, but then there's a section that is gonna resonate with that. So I think that's important to pay attention to. Another very important thing that I think, like cross-generationally, we've been making a mistake in Kenya. We talk about agendas. We talk about, like show us what you'll go and do. We talk about this, but this becomes a trap, because anyone who knows how to write a good agenda, anyone who knows how to write a good manifesto, just like Ruto did, like with the Hustler versus Dynasty, with all the promises he made, because he's very good at doing that. And anyone who can do that is definitely gonna be in a better position to sorry about that. I will find the app. But
it's okay.
Yeah.
At this point, we have prayed.
Okay, I am. But going back to what I was saying, the reason why Ruto is president today is because as Kenyans, we are very fixated on promises and agendas and what someone will tell you they will do. There is no interrogation of, okay, here is Ali. He's telling us that he's gonna DJ Vinoma Sana in your next party. Like he's gonna make the best music. Like everybody's gonna be on the dance floor. And I even give you a playlist and how I'm gonna do it. But then you're not asking, where did Ali DJ before? Like what party has he, or even if he's DJed before, what was the crowd reaction when he was DJing? So now, whenever there's any new shiny thing that people are proposed to, like there's a tendency to focus on that agenda and that promise and not looking, like at the background, who you Ruto, like what's his background, like what has he done before? Right. He said that he's gonna finish corruption, like what's his background on corruption? Because I think that background has a better, like projection on what someone will do than what they give you on paper. And it is important to try and package that in a way that people can understand in a simple way. Like, yes, this guy has promised this, but ndio hii background yake, which doesn't happen very well in Kenya.